So welcome back to S-TechMatrix. Today we are going to tackle the most important concept in networking chapter. So the OSI models. Whether you are preparing for exam or a job interview at a top tech companies, you must know this a basic fundamental in a computer network. Think of the OSI module as a universal language for computer networking. It explains how single WhatsApp message travels from your phone across the world to the friend's device. Let's break down all 7 layers and see exactly how the data flow. So each layer has specific functions and it's responsible for. So all layers works together in a correct order to move the data around world. So we'll see the next. So as I said, each the OSI module means Open System Interconnection, which is created by international standard organization. So this is to explain how different networking technologies works together and interact. So as I said previously, all layers are working together in correct order to move the data around the world. So we have application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport, network, data link, and physical layer. So in a simple way, I will tell the OSI provides a standard for different computer systems to be able to communicate with each other. So it is based on the concept of splitting up the communication system into several abstract layers, each on stacked upon the last. So each layer of OSI module handles a specific job and communicates with the layers above. So DDoS attack targets specific layer of network connection. Application layer attacks targets layer 7 and protocol layer attacks targets layer 3 and 4. 3 and 4 means a network and transport layer, and application layer attacks DDoS will be done in application layer attack. So why does OSI model matters? Though the modern internet does not strictly follow the OSI module, it more closely follows the simple internet protocol suite. The OSI model is still very useful for troubleshooting the network problems. It's whether one person who can't get their network on laptop or a website being down for thousands users. This OSI module can help to break down the problem and isolate the source of the trouble. It is the problem can be narrowed down to the specific layer, so a lot of unnecessary works can be avoided. So first, physical layer. So this is the lowest layer of the OSI module. The bottom floor. So this is physical equipment cable, fiber optics or radio waves. So the data will be in the form of bits, zeros and ones, converting electrical or light signals back into a raw data. So it is responsible for actually physical connection between the devices, and the physical layer contains information in the form of bits, as I said before, 0 and 1s. So physical layer is responsible for transmitting individual bit from one node to the next. When receiving data, this layer will get the signal received and converted to zeros and ones and send them back to the data link layer, which will put the frame back together. So the common physical layer devices are hubs, repeater, modems, like that. So as for now, from physical cable, it will get the bit streams and it will transfer into raw data and sending to the other data link layer. So now data link layer, if you see, that is responsible for node to node delivery. It handles a data transfer between two devices on the same network. The main function of this layer is to make sure the data is transferred in a error-free over the physical layer. When packet arrives in a network, it is responsible for the DLL to transmit it the host using its MAC address. So packet in the data link layer is referred as a frame. Switch and bridges are common data link layer devices. So the packet received from the network layer is further divided into frames depending on the frame size and the network interface card. DLL also encapsulate the sender and receiver's MAC address in the header. DLL means data link layer. So the receiver address is obtained by placing an address resolution protocol request onto the wire asking who has that IP address, and the destination host will reply with its MAC address. So this is how the data link layer DLL works. So here you need to keep in your mind that data unit will be a phrase and address used is MAC address. This is where switches operates mostly. Network layer. So network layer works in the transmission of data from one host to other located in a different network. It also takes care for packet routing, selection of shortest path to transmit the packet from one number to routes available. The sender and receiver IP address are placed in the header by the network layer. Segment in network layer is referred to as a packet. Okay. So the network layer breaks up the segment from the transport layer into smaller units called packets on the sender device and reassemble these packets on receiving device. So the network layer also finds the best physical path for the data to reach its destination. This is known as routing. Okay, you need to remember it. So network layer, mostly the protocols we will be using is Internet ICMP, Internet Control Message Protocol, and Internet Group Message Protocol, and IPsec suite. So the next is transport layer. So transport layer provides a service to the application layer and takes service from the network layer. So the data is the data in the transport layer is referred to as a segment. It is responsible for end-to-end delivery of the complete message. The transport layer also provides an acknowledgement of the successful data transmission and retransmit the data if an error is found. So the protocol we will be using in the transport layer is TCP, UDP, NetBIOS, and BPTP. Okay, at the sender side, transport layer receives the formatted data from the upper layers to perform segmentations and also implement the flow and error control to ensure the proper data transmission from the one node to another node. So it is also add the source and destination port in its header and forwards the segmented data into network layer. Example, when web application request from a web server we will get, it typically uses port number 80 because this is a default port assigned for web applications. Many applications have a default ports assigned. So in this layer, as I said before, we will be using TCP and UDP protocol. So next is session layer. So session layer in OSI module is responsible for establishment of connections, management of connections, and termination of session between two devices. It also provides authentication and security. Protocol used in the session layer are NetBIOS and BPTP. At the sender side, the transport layer receives the formatted data from the upper layer, perform segmentations, and also implement flow and error control. So, and this layer, it acts as a manager of the phone call. It starts, maintains, and ends the connection session between two devices. If your Zoom call say active, layer 5 is doing its job. For an example, I'm saying. So the time between the communication is opened and closed is known as a session. So the session layer is also synchronize the data transfer within the checkpoints. For an example, if a 100 megabit file is being transferred, the session layer will set a checkpoint every 5 megabit. In this case, of a disconnect or crash after 52 MB has been transferred, the session could be resumed from the last checkpoint, so that it won't retransmit, it won't duplicates the packets. So measures only 50 more MB of data need to be transferred, and with the checkpoint the entire packet will be transferred successfully without no error. Okay. So next is a presentation layer. So this layer ensures that data is in usable format. It handles encryption, decryption, compression, and translations. So presentation layer is also called as translation layer. So this data from the application layer, it extracts and manipulate the required format to transfer over the network. So in protocol, the protocols we use in presentation layer is TLS and secure socket layer. In the standard on GIF and MPEG and JPEG are the standards or the format used for encoding data, which is a part of a presentations layers rule. So it handles three primary tasks: translation, compression, encryption. Okay, so to connecting device communication may using different encoding methods. So layer 6 is responsible for transmitting the incoming data into a syntax that the application layer of receiving device can understand what exactly. If devices are communicating over an encrypted communication, layer 6 is responsible for adding the encryption on the sender's end and well on decoding the encryption on the receiver side. So this is the main work role in a presentation layer. So at finally we will be looking into the application layer. So this layer is closest to you. It where your apps like Chrome, WhatsApp, Gmail live. So as at very top of OSI reference model stack layer, we find application layer which is implemented in the network application. So these applications produce the data to be transferred over the network. So this layer also serves as a window of application service to access the network and displaying the received information to the user. So the protocols we will be using is HTTP, SMTP, and FTP. FTP means file transfer protocol, SMTP means simple mail transfer protocol, HTTP hypertext transfer. So it provides the interface for the users to interact with the network. So this is how the whole data communication happens. So now the example I will be telling how the data flow through a OSI module. So for an example, Mr. Cooper wants to send a mail to his manager. So Mr. Cooper composes his mail in its email application on his laptop and hits sends. His email application will pass his email message over to application layer first, then which will pick the protocol SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol, and pass the data along to the presentation layer. In presentation layer will then compress the data and then it will hit the session layer, which will initiate the communication session. The data will then hit a sender's transportation layer where it will be segmented then those segments will be broken into packets at the network layer, which will be broken down even further into frames at the data link layer, and data link layer will deliver these frames to the physical layer, which will convert the data into byte streams as ones and zeros and send it over the physical medium such as cable to the this manager's computers receives the bit streams, and through the physical medium such as the data will be flow through the same series as how the initial communication happens. It will now reverse the process, and his manager will get the data in his application layer using a email interface which uses a protocol SMTP. So this is how a data transfers between physical layer to application layer. So this is how the communication happens. So application layer, they are sending a data. In presentation layer, it will add its presentation header, and in session layer it will add data, presentation and HTTP header to initiate the communication. Okay, and in transportation layer they will be adding a TCP header. Then in network layer we will be adding a IP header, and data link layer we will be adding a MAC address, and then in physical layer it will be converted into zeros and ones, and it will be decapsulation, right? Now this message will send to device B. So like that we will be sending and receiving the packets in the OS using OSI model. And this is the OSI module from your app on your screen to the cables under the sea. So these 7 layers makes a global communication possible. If you found this is a if this breakdown is helpful, give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe S-TechMatrix for more technical deep dive. Leave a comment below if you want the video of TCP or IP model next. So most probably I will be posting TCP and IP model next. So stay curious and stay secure. And also I have started posting cyber security government and private jobs, so you can go and see that in a cyber security career playlist, and you can apply for the jobs. It will be easy for you to grow your career in this field. Okay, thank you. If you like this video, just hit a like button and comment what is the next video you need, and subscribe my channel. Thank you.